Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So now I am going to draw some graphs on the basis of some questions. So first of all, we should know the rules, and that rules we will follow in the drawing the graphs. So here in the quantity of demand, and when the price is same and the quantity of demand is increase and decrease, we will have lines. Let's say the D1 is the original line. So when the quantity of demand is increased, so we will draw a line above the original line, and when the quantity of demand is decreased, we will draw the line below the original line. So in demand we will use these rules, but in supply it's opposite. In the supply, if the demand is the quantity of supply is increased, we will draw the line below the original line. In this we were drawing above the original line when we increase the quantity of demand, but here when the quantity of supply, we will draw the line below the original line. So S1 is show the original line, S2 show the new line. So when we decrease the quantity of supply, we will draw above the original line. So this is decrease, and below the original line it is increase. So here it is opposite. When we increase, we will draw above the original line. So this is increase. So when it is decrease, we will draw below the original line. So we will use these rules for drawing the graphs for the question. Let's say if we have question, in the question, if the demand and supply both are increased in equal proportion. So in equal proportion, it means that how much change do we have in the quantity of demand, same change will be also occur in the quantity of supply. So the change in both quantity of demand and quantity of supply will be same. So here this is the graph, this is price, this is quantity. So this is the line, original line of supply S1, and this is the original line of demand, which is D1. We know that for increase in demand, we will draw a line above the original line. So D1 is the original line, so we will draw a parallel line above the D1. So this is D2. And when we increase in the supply, so we will draw below the original line. And here we have equal proportion. It means that the distance between D1 and D2 should be equal to the distance between S1 and S2. So we will draw the line below the S2. So here the distance between both are equal, because here we have change but in equal proportion. So now another question, if D and S, demand and supply, both are decreased in equal proportion, here we have increase, we were drawing above and below. So now we are decreasing it. So So this is the graph, price, quantity. These are the original line. For original line we use D1 and S1. So here we have decrease. In the demand, when we are decreasing, we will draw below the original line. So we will draw it here below the original line. This is D2, and we will draw the supply above the original line when we are decreasing. So the distance between both changes should be equal. This is S2. So the distance between these line and these line should be equal, because we have said that equal proportion. And another question we have, if change in demand is increase and change in supply is decrease in equal proportion. So here we will draw a graph. This is price, this is quantity of demand and supply. So here we have original lines. This is S1 and this is D1. So here we have increase in demand. So increase in demand we will draw above the demand line. So here we will draw D2. And decrease in supply, so in supply when we have decrease we will draw above the original line. So this is S2. Let's say another question, I am changing these things. Here D is decrease and S is increase, opposite of this, okay? So here we will draw quantity, price, these are the original line S1 and this is original line D1. So when we decrease in demand, so we will draw below the original line D2, and when we have increase in supply we will draw below the S2. But in this question we have same distance between these lines because about equal proportion. And if we have don't equal proportion, we will draw graph little bit different. Let's say if demand and supply both are increased, but the change in demand must be greater than the change in supply. So how can we draw this graph? So this is the graph, this is Q, this is P, and this is original line of supply, this is the original line of demand. So we have increase. When we increase in demand, we will draw above the original line, and in supply we have increase. When we have increase in supply, we will draw below the original line. But here we have some function, and it says that the change in demand should be greater than the change in supply. So it means that we will draw a line here, but the change is higher. So this is D2. Here is we have more change from D1 and D2, and in supply we have less change, so we will draw closer to the original line. this is S2. So these lines show the more changes and this show the less change. And the same question, I am just changing this. Let's say if we increase in demand and supply both, but the change in supply is greater than the change in demand. So we can say the change in supply is greater than the change in demand. So here the structure should be opposite. So this is the graph, quantity, price, and we have increase in both. This is original supply and this is original line of demand. So if we have increase in demand, we will draw above the original line, and if we have increase in supply, we will draw below the original line. But here we say that in this condition the supply change is greater than the supply of demand. So we will draw, this is change in supply, we have more change in supply but we have less change in demand, so we will draw closer to the original line. So these all are changes between the demand and supply. Sometimes we have increase and decrease, we have more changes, we have less changes. So we should follow these rules.